Hi, everyone, and welcome to Arthritis at Home. This program is brought to you by Arthritis Consumer Experts. My name is Cheryl Koehn. I am the president of Arthritis Consumer Experts, or Elles, and it is my pleasure to welcome into the studio today Ms. Ellen Wang. Thanks for coming in, Ellen.
Thank you for having me, as always, Cheryl.
Yeah, let me tell the audience a little bit about you, Ellen. You joined Arthritis Consumer Experts about 3 years ago, and you're a key contributor to the development of joint health communication and education programs, including the one we're going to talk about today, which is Joint Health Education, Arthritis and Exercise. And we're very excited about the new course and hearing from you, an expert in exercise as it relates to people living with arthritis. For our audience, Ellen, I'm just going to share with them the fact that you are a PhD student under the supervision of Dr. Linda Lee at the University of British Columbia. You received your Master and Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology at the University of Waterloo. And during that time, you spent a lot of volunteer hours in exercise programs for patients undergoing cancer treatment, individuals with heart disease, and older adults living with dementia and their care partners. So you've had this really terrific and well-rounded body of experience, both in terms of your educational background as well as through your volunteer work. And from these experiences, Ellen, you've developed a really keen interest in sort of the patient self-care and health equity journey. And your research currently is at that intersection of health equity and patient engagement, and focusing on how best to reach and partner with diverse and underserved groups, communities, and health research. I can think of no greater area than the area of exercise and arthritis, where that label self-care fits right in. Or over top, rather. You've worked with so many different people and now are really focused in arthritis. You're a person living with arthritis yourself, so you know what these challenges are. And we're going to take the time together today in studio, Ellen, to talk about this new course and get your expert opinion on the things that are being offered in it and why they're important to people like me, someone living with rheumatoid arthritis, and someone like you and the thousands of others of our members that we serve and try to help encourage, empower through education. So starting at the beginning is always a good point for an interview. And what I want to ask you off the top, Ellen, is why is exercise so important for people living with arthritis? When I was diagnosed way back when, I was told to go home and rest and be careful. Basically, I was treated like a china teacup when I was first diagnosed. So tell us now today, flash forward 2024, why is exercise so important to people like us?
Cheryl, it's a little sad to say, in some ways, that's still partially the narrative around arthritis, because when you move, when you exercise, when you participate in physical activity, as we know, our joints, right after that movement and that exercise and that physical activity may actually not feel great. But we know that exercise has what they use the word plethora, which means it has truly 1,000 different benefits physically, as we know. It's good for our heart health, our muscles, our bones. It's also really good for our cognition as we age, especially. But I think more and more there's research speaking to the emotional benefit, the mental benefit of exercise and movement, it being a daily practice especially. So consistent exercise allows us to almost think of it as a buffer, right? It allows us to have a buffer so that we can take on more in our day, but still kind of remain in our comfort zone or come back to, a place of being grounded and feeling like things are going to be okay. I can do this. And I also want to speak to some of the social benefit. So I know, Cheryl, yourself as an athlete for many years, that, some of the greatest connections in your life were formed through exercise. And I cannot speak enough to the support that, we should really be thinking about for people living with different types of arthritis, especially some of the rare types. A lot of people don't understand the symptoms because it's not the cold. It's not that I had a runny nose and it went away a week later, right? So exercise as a form of spending time with other people, right, gives you an excuse, whether that's to attend a class or to go on a walk, right, with a friend that perhaps you don't get to see otherwise. So I highly recommend exercise for many different reasons, but really I'm pushing for that social benefit that we should all really be highlighting. And I think that one's really important, and hopefully that one's the one that's really fun as well.
Yeah, you've described to us all of these myriad things that make it a good thing. So we know that exercise, generally speaking, is a good thing in the setting of arthritis. Tell us what types of exercise are the most beneficial. So if we know it's a good thing, let's sort of narrow in and hear from you about what are some types of exercise that really yield positive results.
Yeah, so currently the best evidence, and that's across Canada and the world, recommend what they kind of say like two groups of exercise, what they call cardiovascular or endurance training. So that's think of getting your heart pumping, right? So that's exercise, whether you're walking, you're on a stationary bike, and it's a rhythmic activity. And then the other group of exercise is strength training, where you are using your muscles. You may be moving against your body weight. You may be moving against an external load or an actual dumbbell, so to say. And strength training improves not only the quality of your muscle, but how much of it you have and how much of it will actually recruit and function as you move. So really, cardiovascular and strength training is how we've broken it down. Both are important. But in terms of modality, we have to think to ourselves, obviously, as we know, whether that's walking is good for you, biking is good for you, swimming is really great for you, but depends on resources, environment, and weather, right? So think of what is accessible to you and what you enjoy doing. So there isn't one modality, so to say, that's better than another, right? We can't say swimming is better than cycling. It's, again, what you have access to and what you enjoy doing.
And is mixing them up a good idea?
Absolutely. If you're someone who likes variety, I highly recommend to mix things up, to do cardiovascular or what we call endurance training. So that can be going on a walk when it's sunny outside if you live in Vancouver. And then on the days when it doesn't look so great outside, perhaps if you have a strength routine or resistance training routine at home that you can do with just your body weight, for example, squats, you could hold a plank, right? These exercises can all be done at home or done at the gym, whatever, again, you have access to one day, and then the other day you would do the other type. And that's what has been shown to have the most amount of benefit as we age, as well as for your cognition as well. So balancing both the heart pumping exercise and the muscle strengthening exercise.
That's great. Thank you for that insight. We'll have some additional resources for people to tap into and visit on our website that offer some of these examples of home-based exercise, which are convenient and economical. And I highly suggest people try those out. One of the things we hear from our membership a lot, Ellen, is, I couldn't get it done because of this, or it just became too. Tell us what some of the barriers are to exercise. Share from your own, obviously, educational experience, the training that you've received during your studies, but also in your volunteer work, what you've observed from people.
Yeah, Cheryl, I would say overall the literature speaks to time as being the largest barrier, saying that, for example, there is not enough time in a day to fit in, for example, a 45-minute session. And absolutely, this is true, right? Especially, if, for example, you're aspiring to go to the gym 3 times a week. The drive there is 20 minutes, drive home is 20 minutes. By the time you park the car, walk in, do the routine, that's 2 hours gone, right? Absolutely. That even though you say like, well, I'm really only working for 45 minutes, if you look at the logistics around whatever your target exercise is, it can get pretty lengthy and, quite a challenge to fit in a 2-hour block for most of us. From my own experience, actually, I would say it's people's expectations for themselves. So, for example, the
They
thought
are a
is,
barrier, their own expectations are a barrier, okay.
yeah. So again, I'm going to use this example of going to the gym, whether that's 3 times a week, and people think that if I don't go to the gym 3 times a week, then it's not worth doing. If I can only do once a week, then it's not worth doing, which is absolutely not what we as healthcare providers, as exercise professionals should be promoting. The evidence says that any amount of exercise is beneficial and that more exercise is better than none. Any exercise is better than none. So if the week is, for example, a little bit more busy and you can only get to the gym once, that's okay. That is an accomplishment, right? And then you can think to yourself, all right, if I'm feeling energetic enough, maybe we can then work on building a home exercise routine or a quote unquote backup plan if we don't make it to the gym. Because for sure, fatigue is another big one, right? We know with arthritis, fatigue being another really big barrier. So how can we then work through that challenge of, instead of doing 30 minutes of something, can we do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at lunch, 10 minutes before bed? And that's your 30 minutes, right? Can we break down the goal so it's manageable within our lifestyle, within our time limits, as well as within how our body's feeling? But those I would say are kind of the more prominent barriers that I've read in the literature as well as experienced on my own. And I know from my experiences as a patient, but also working with patients living with arthritis that, fatigue being a big barrier for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with you. My own personal experience is I say, oh, I ran out of time. But then when I sit back and reflect, Ellen, on where I put my time that day, and I think, well, I wasted 30 minutes doing basically nothing over here, and I could claw some of that back. Sometimes I incorporate my exercise in the other things I am responsible for doing, like walking my dog. Well, when I'm walking along, I do some lunges. I do some, soft sort of lunges as I walk her. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, this is great. I've just saved myself some time in the workout itself earlier in the day. I think your colleague, Dr. Jasmine Law at UBC, calls them exercise snacks. So instead of thinking about food as a snack, think about exercise as a snack is kind of what I'm hearing from you. You can do it in consumable little bites.
Yes, consumable little bites, and to really celebrate all the amounts that you do. All of the little snacks should be celebrated as much as, we celebrate, yes, I hit my goal of going to the gym 3 times this week, right? Any amount should be celebrated.
Yeah, thank you. That's really good advice. I guess lastly, if someone was coming to this course, Joint Health Education, Arthritis and Exercise course, what practical advice would you provide, apart from the great information they're going to get in the course and the coaching tips they're going to get from our expert through the videos in each of the lessons they take? What would you specifically say to someone new to exercise?
I would say that exercise, like everything new that we do in our lives, even if, you reflect back and you say, you know, I was super active previously. When we adopt a new behavior, I'm using very, very scientific term to say, when we start to incorporate something in our life, you need to move very slowly, right? It's not going to come the next day. You might not wake up the next day and be like, yeah, I'm going to exercise. I made time for it.
Nailed it. Yeah.
To not only start slow, but also to progress slowly. We don't, you know, no one expects you to adopt exercise right away, but how can you start restructuring your life or planning exercise in advance, or maybe leaving your shoes at the door, packing your gym bag the day before, calling up a friend so that they're keeping you accountable. They show up at your door. It's not like you're not gonna go on a walk with them at that point, right? And Cheryl, I cannot underline this enough, but find something you enjoy doing. And I know that sounds super cheesy, but we think of exercise as, you know, something super structured, like I'm going to go on a run and it's going to be this long and I'm going to ride this many kilometers. If you just want to dance in your living room to your favorite music, that's great. If you find it fun and we can relabel it as fun time or snack time, then I think we won. Like I think that's the battle of, instead of trying to implement exercise in our life, can we add something that we enjoy doing that also happens to have, like you said, a myriad of benefits for us physically, emotionally, mentally, socially, right? Can we kind of reframe this for ourselves?
Yeah, I love that. It's like a exercise. Think of it as a bank account for your soul, for your overall well-being. You know, you're putting pennies and nickels and dimes in your little piggy bank, and earning interest in yourself. Those are great pieces of advice for someone starting anew. So let's take a quick tour of the new Joint Health Education, Arthritis and Exercise course. You can find the course programs tab on the jointhealth.org website. And here it is at the top of the program list. You just simply click. And here you're on the homepage of the Joint Health Education area. Go down here to course selection and click. And here you'll see the 6 courses that are on offer. Arthritis and Exercise is course number 5. You'll click on it. And here's a nice description of the course and what you can hope to get out of it. Here's a list of the lessons. Again, we do recommend that you take them in sequential order, but you don't have to. If you want to start with lesson 5 because you're already exercising and want to learn more about overcoming barriers, you can start here. If you're new to exercise with your arthritis, start at lesson 1. So let's just take a quick look at one lesson. We'll start with lesson 1. Each lesson is set up the same. You read the course information, the lesson information here, and it's all set out in sort of bite-sized learning pieces. At the end of that reading, you can download the lesson for future reference. If you want to go on to take the quiz, you just simply click Take the Quiz, and you go through a brief set of questions. In lesson 1, there are 4 key questions for you to answer. And when you scroll down, you'll see the answer key here upside down. Once you've taken the quiz, you just scroll down and enjoy the lesson video. For Arthritis and Exercise, we're very happy and pleased and honored to have Dr. Marie Westby provide us with key takeaways for each of the lessons. So you click, launches a brief video.
Now that you've finished lesson 1.
So there you have it. That's a nice tour of Arthritis and Exercise Joint Health Education course. So there's a tour of the website of the actual course online that features a lesson, a quiz, and a wonderful video highlighting some of the key points in each of the lessons. Ellen, is there anything else you'd like to say about this course and how you think it can benefit probably even beyond people with arthritis. Lots of folks need to practice joint protection, need to manage their energy because of other health concerns. But anything you'd like to add here as we wrap today's interview?
No, I would just encourage everyone to give it a try, right? Even if it doesn't sound like something you want to do right now, you want to start right at this moment, take a few moments and like go through the website. See if like you find something interesting that you can share with a friend even, right?
That's great. Good advice. Thank you so much, Ellen, for being with us. We look forward to seeing more of your own research work coming out, and the work that you're doing with Arthritis Consumer Experts and our education program. So thank you very much. We hope everyone enjoyed this episode of Arthritis at Home. We really encourage you to visit the new course, Joint Health Education, Arthritis and Exercise. So be well, everyone, and we hope you have fun exercising. Take care.